What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a play test of the new Predstrike in the laceless variation. I'm going to get some socks on, get the boots on straight away, and we're just going to do a straight up play test. I really want to add these types of videos in so that you guys get a full review, the play test, and then you'll get a potentially more training sessions as time goes on with these boots. And then of course the 1 month review if they are boots that sort of live up to the standard of how I take care of my feet, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's gonna be the way we go about it. It's just gonna be some simple dribbling drills. Unfortunately, fortunately, it's Christmas Eve today. Happy Christmas, y'all. But today there are no goals out, unfortunately. There's one behind me over that side, but it doesn't have a net. And so we'll see if I actually get some shots off. But most of today's drills are just gonna be dribbling, and I'm gonna have a mic on me so I can talk in real time about how they fit and feel as I go through some of the drills. Let's hop into it. So obviously getting these on feet really quick. I am playing on natural grass today, so it is a grass pitch out here in Perth, Australia. Over here visiting some friends for Christmas. And similar to that try-on video, as you can see, when I slip my feet in to these boots, there is absolutely zero space on any point of the shoe. So they do feel a little bit tight here on the midfoot, but that's pretty much to be expected for most boots. Fits true to size with a 9 and does a really nice job. We'll grab the other one on really quick as well and give you guys a good sense of what it's like to play on a natural grass pitch with these new laceless football boots. One thing that I'm really excited to talk about today is lockdown. My hope is that lockdown is fairly decent, but again, we'll kind of see as we go through the session. But there you go. There's a good look at the boots themselves. Super, super nice on feet, and they definitely are doing a good job wrapping some of the more interesting parts of my feet that are a little bit wider here in the midfoot. And then of course I've got like a thin heel and sort of gaps in this area that I usually get kind of fold over of the material, but so far so good. All right, got to get into like a proper warm up here. I'm going to try and talk through the entire session just to give you guys a good idea of how they fit and feel on feet. The ground that I'm playing on is quite plush right now, so it is a nice, it's a bit sandy for my taste, but it is quite plush underfoot. You have a good amount of cushioning with this sole plate as well, which is really, really nice. And so, so far so good, which is awesome. One of the things I often notice with laceless football boots is that they do tend to slip a little bit in the heel area, rotationally side to side, but also up and down sometimes. So when I'm planting like this and I'm taking off, oftentimes I'll get a little bit of slippage in the back side of that heel, kind of rubbing on the Achilles. I'm one of those players who's fortunate enough to not get a ton of blisters. To be honest, at this point, it's probably a matter of having such highly calloused feet that I just don't end up getting blisters at all, really, because there's so much extra kind of thick skin on the bottom. But I definitely do get hot spots, and the hot spots that I do get are mostly on the outside of my feet, right in that midfoot area, like I've talked about a million times on the channel. But also it's one of those times where on the bottom, kind of the right and left part of my heel area, I'll sometimes get hot spots as well. Just depends on kind of the way things are going. When that happens, usually it's because there's a lot of rotational slippage. So from side to side going this way, quite a lot of rotational slippage there on the inside of the boots. But I'm feeling it a little bit. You know, again, it's kind of hard with laceless boots to get the perfect fit. So for me, it's like if you're somebody who fits perfectly in the Tequila, or if you're somebody who fits perfectly in the new Predstrike laceless, if you're somebody who fits perfectly in the Speed Portal laceless model. Obviously, the Copa doesn't have a laceless model anymore, but you think about all the laceless models on the market. If there's one that you fit in perfectly, even if you're not maybe a fan of like a control boot or a power boot, but you're absolutely keen on having laceless, it's really important, and in my opinion, absolutely key, to make sure you pick the boot that actually fits your foot the best. I talk about this all the time, and people just, it seems like people don't get it as often as maybe I want them to, but it doesn't matter what your position is, doesn't matter how you play, what type of style player you are, the talents you have as a as a footballer, like all that stuff. None of that stuff really matters. It's all about what you fit in. And if Copa Mundials are what you fit in, then by all means wear Copa Mundials, because that's going to make your feet feel better, and you're going to end up being, you're able to maximize your abilities as a footballer in that sense as well. So warming up in the boots, no issues so far. I think for me, again, no issues, meaning they are definitely tight on the outside of my feet, but they are stretching quite a bit. I've had a chance to wear the laces model already in a training session with a one-on-one with a professional trainer, and those went really, really well. Those stretched. We'll do a play test of those as well, but these are so far so good. I mean, as you can see, wiggling my toes there, stretching pretty well to the shape of my foot, and doing a nice job, especially there through the midfoot area. Okay, first couple touches on the ball, we're gonna get a little bit of juggling back and forth. This is just end line to a 6-yard box there that's kind of painted into the ground. It's a little hard to see probably on camera, but just gonna juggle back and forth, get a little bit of good touches on the ball. It is quite windy here, so try to get control of the ball. You can definitely feel the stickiness of this, both this new Euro ball, but also the texturing on this upper is quite significant, which if you are somebody who enjoys that kind of stuff like I am, it just takes a second to get used to, and then you have that extra little bit of swaz and stuff on the ball. I mean, I can, like, the amount of grip I'm getting flicking the ball, like just even like that, is pretty insane, which is awesome. I love that ability. But yeah, first touches on the ball, kind of more seriously, really, really nice. Juggling a ball, touch feels good. I really like this Hybrid Touch 2.0 upper. I think it does a really nice job. Wraps your foot in a really nice way that is very similar to leather in a lot of ways, especially really nice thin, like Montebelluna leather, but sort of has that feeling of not necessarily feeling overly tight or overly stretchy as well. It's kind of that really nice middle ground between each one of those. First touches, kind of rolling side to side, feel definitely grippy. Obviously with a surface that's like this, where you've got kind of dry grass, a very kind of hydrophobic or water resistant ball, plus sticky boots, basically makes this a very sticky playing surface, which is nice. Ball sticks to your foot for sure. But if you're somebody who's used to a very, used to a very kind of simple and I guess very clean, no distractions touch on the ball, this is definitely gonna be a step in the grippy direction. I would say in general, these boots, especially here in this area, as you're dragging your foot up and over the ball, this area right here is gonna be something to get used to for a lot of players. So just keep that in mind if you're considering the new Predstrike. It's something that I definitely enjoy, but that's up for you guys to decide as well. Okay, so after those types of little drills, we're gonna do one more little like figure 8 dribbling drill. I do need to take these off for half a second. They are getting pretty tight on my feet. As you guys know, really have wide feet in that midfoot area right here. And so for me, these are gonna take probably about a session or two to break in. I would say again, the Hybrid Touch is pretty fantastic. Just gotta let my feet breathe for like 30 seconds, and then I'll put those back on when using the, well, I don't wanna spoil the laced video, but I'll talk about that in a different video. But especially for a boot like this that's laceless, that has a little bit more predetermined shape, because it is a laceless football boot, they need to make it a little more structured. It is a boot that probably takes, well, I know for this for sure because I've tried both now, but it takes a little bit longer than the laced model for me, speaking personally, to break in as well. So now let's go a little bit more acceleration through the middle, do a little figure 8, tight, sharp turns, and then I'll kind of speak about how that was and how that feels as well. All right, so definitely feeling the tightness of the boot, which is great, especially for a laceless model. These are feeling really good so far. Let me get you guys a better view of these. So one of the things I'm noticing, especially with the outside of my foot here, is They're squeezing quite a bit, I would say, but the toe box area there, and obviously there, are feeling really, really nice. I don't think there's any hot spots in the toes. That's how far my toe goes up, so it goes right up to the end there. Heel area feels good, no slippage so far. I am wearing a pair of grip socks, so that is something to keep in mind. The grip on the bottom of those goes to here and then doesn't go anywhere kind of up here on the Achilles area, which is actually pretty impressive given, excuse me, turn around so the wind isn't so bad, given that these are a laceless model. So pretty solid, pretty solid. All right, like next little test here is just gonna be a little bit more intensive. So we're gonna dribble through the cones, go through, do a little bit of skills here, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, come through. You're gonna do the figure 8 out here, all the way up to the 2 cones, all the way back down, turn, play here, and then do a little skill move and then accelerate out to the 18-yard box. This is meant to really test kind of the lateral and stability control of the boot, especially for a laceless boot. That's very, very important. So here we go. V-turns feel good. Back into the figure 8, which I just did before. No problems there. Come in and turn, yep, good. Oop, nice. Here we go. V-turn with a rollover. Feels good, really controlled underfoot. And acceleration, nice. Okay, so a couple things there as I'm recovering back into it. A couple things there. One is stability control of the sole plate is lovely. I do feel like I have a lot of grip onto the ground. This is, as I said, a little bit of a softer FG surface. So keep that in mind as you are thinking about these types of boots. So underfoot control is really good. I would say stability control is surprising for a laceless football boot. Obviously they're still brand new, but after going a couple rounds in these and really feeling what it's like to dribble at pace, turn at pace, cut back and forth, I'm very impressed with how these fit and feel despite being not only a low cut laceless model, but also just a laceless model in general that tend to have a little bit more struggles with maintaining lockdown. All right, so we're gonna step it up a little bit, get a little bit more intense with the movements, get a little bit more intense with the type of ball mastery stuff, so a little bit more complicated ball mastery, and just trying to test these boots as best we can. First play test is always gonna be rough because my feet are gonna burn a little bit. I should honestly probably take them off again, just for a half a second. And yeah, feet are burning a little bit, but that is definitely par for the course for a boot like this. But I gotta say, just from a kind of pain threshold perspective, obviously I've got a pretty high tolerance because I try so many boots on, but this is a boot that I think I'm gonna be very, very comfortable in once they are fully broken in. I do feel like this Hybrid Touch 2.0 is a gem from the Adidas brand. I think they did a really fantastic job, there we go, getting this boot kind of sorted with the way it fits. The shape is really nice. It's a little bit slimmer for sure than the previous generation, but I don't mind that at all because once it breaks in, it definitely feels like it's gonna have kind of the perfect combination of flexibility, comfort, and also performance. All right, let's jump into 2.0 here we go. Same weave, and then this time we're going V-cut, V-cut. Oh, excuse me. We're gonna redo that one. We got to do an L turn first. All right, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go, come up, L turn, V cut. L turn back, and there we go. V turn, L turn, V, L turn, V. Boom, boom, boom. Nice, good feel, really good feel. Feeling a little bit of slippage there. Right there, boom, at the turn. And then same pattern, V. Here we go, up, L turn, V cut, roll over, L turn, V cut, back through and accelerate. Yeah, okay, so here we go. So just so you get a sense of what I'm talking about. Right here, so as I'm coming back and I'm taking a really sharp turn backwards or I'm cutting this way, whenever I'm going up to a line turning, that's where right in the heel area it starts to slip just a little bit. Again, par for the course, but not something that I, you know, am excited about. Obviously for a laceless boot, you kind of expect that, but at the end of the day, it's really about how you can manage that type of slippage if you do want to wear a laceless football boot, including this Predstrike, because I do think this Predstrike is deserving of all of the praise it's getting in the media and all of the praise that it's getting from me as well, because I really do think this is a fantastic product. That being said, just be aware that for most people, you are gonna have that little bit of slippage. And if that's a risk, or not even risk, if that's sort of a byproduct you're willing to handle, by all means, get a pair, because they're freaking awesome and they feel really nice on feet. I think Hybrid Touch 2.0 is an absolute monster of a product. So freaking well done, Adidas. Get at me too, would love a sponsorship. All right, let me show you what I'm talking about with the turns. So this area right here is where I get the most slippage. So right around the Achilles tendon is kind of the area where you get that most slippage. And what happens is, so if I'm coming up to the line here and I'm planting and pivoting at the same time, that's when I get a little bit of rotational slippage that way with my Achilles. It's not a lot, admittedly, definitely not a lot, but it is there. So the rest of the boot, especially through this area right here, up into the midfoot, feels very secure, surprisingly secure for a laceless model. But again, it is like right as you hit the midpoint of that ankle, that's where you start to get a little bit of slippage. So for me, this is absolutely, you know, potentially gonna be a training boot. I think this is definitely gonna be a training boot. It's not gonna be a game boot, and I can tell that from, you know, moment one of trying these on, unless we figure out how to get, you know, either a crazy amount of grip into the back of this area right here, or we get a grip sock that's got grip elements like all up and down so that there's no rotational slippage that way. This is a boot that I will absolutely be wearing for a training session, but just not for a game, I don't think. So let's move into some passing and shooting. So this area here is a little bit sandy, unfortunately, because they did some like aeration stuff on this area. So it is like, I mean, I'm kicking up quite a bit of sand here. I can like pick up grains of sand. But regardless, it's a little bit far out. It's probably like 25 meters out. But I just want to see kind of what some free kicks and stuff. And again, I haven't really warmed up yet, but we'll kind of see how they go from a shooting perspective. I'm really excited about kind of the bend that I want to get with a boot like this and get that little extra bit of swaz on there. That's not bad for a first try. A little bit wide, but there we go. Very, very solid feel. God, that is, I'm literally like walking on a beach right now. That's crazy. This is genuinely, I mean, this is like really stupid sandy right now. But we'll stick as much as we can for shooting on this grass bit. So underfoot, again, feels really nice planted. You do get a little bit of that heel slippage like I was just talking about when you plant and pivot as if you're gonna swerve and kick the ball. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Here we go, let's try this one again. A little too much there. That's just one of the downsides of not having a proper bag of balls with me as I just travel for a couple days for Christmas. As I said, it is Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, everybody. Or happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. Here we go. Oh, a little bit off. That's okay. So, as I said before, grip elements feel really nice, feels really effortless to strike the ball. And for me, it's a boot that I think is gonna be on a lot of people's top lists, particularly because of that grip element. And I know there's a lot of gimmicks in football boots and football boot technology. As I've said before, I think it's really, really important to make sure that you have the right fit first and then go for the type of boot you're looking for. So going for a boot that's got grip on it, that's just pretty bad. Going for a boot that's got some grip on it, going for a boot that's got knit, going for a boot that's got Hybrid Touch 2.0, all of those things are gonna be really, really important for you to decide what you like. I would say there are very few technologies that are you know, kind of one of a kind, if you will. Grip knit, in my opinion, is one of a kind. By the way, I have to take off my boots again because it is getting quite tight as well. So that's third time taking those boots off, but that's all right. So one of the things that I think is really important to understand when you're thinking about the football boot industry, so let's take the Predators, for example, right? Like the Predators are a boot that's got a really, really fantastic amount of history behind it. It's got some really nice technology to it. It's got a really nice sole plate to it. And it's got, of course, those the strike skin upper, which is a really nice feature for those of you looking for proper grip elements on the upper material. What that is, though, is a feature that isn't gonna matter if you don't fit in these football boots. So if you don't fit in the new Predator Predstrike, I would not buy them. And what you need to do, in my opinion, is get the boot that fits you, then find the technology that you actually really like or makes you feel some type of way. So if this sole plate really gets you going, that's amazing if you fit in the boots. If you don't fit in the boots, it's not gonna make any sense to actually buy this pair of football boots. If the strike skin is something you're really looking for, but you don't fit in, guess what? You shouldn't buy them. Does that make sense? So I hope I'm trying to give you guys some proper football boot consumer advice, because I know boots are expensive. I know boots are hard to find sometimes depending on which ones you want. But at the end of the day, it's really important to get the ones that actually fit your feet the best, and then you can find the technology that you actually really like and that helps you play the game that you want to play. So final test I want to do, and this is just for my own personal benefit as well, is that we're going to go 18 and back and all the way to half. So this is our starting point right here. This is the end line. We're going to go out to the 18, sprint all the way back, and then sprint all the way to halfway in 15 seconds. And then I'm going to repeat that 10 times, and we're gonna call it good for the session there. I'm gonna film the first maybe one or two, and then I'll talk about how they perform in a straight line sprint and everything when we get to the end of the session. All right, here we go. Time to freaking grind. Perfect. Now I got the remainder of the minute or 45 seconds to get back and recover. So far, so good. Again, a little bit slippy on the heel area, so that's something to keep in mind. But other than that, grip, upper comfort, overall, these are damn good for a laceless football boot, I gotta admit. Here we go. So we got 15 seconds left. Whew. It's a warm one today too. It is breezy though, so that's good. Here we go, 5 seconds. And go. Forward. Nice. It's a hard one. Getting there in 15 seconds is especially with the turns. I would say I lose about 5% to 10% push off with these, which compared to a lace model, that's actually not that bad. Not that big of a delta. So I'm pretty impressed, to be honest. So, all good things. All right, 10 seconds left. One more here, and then I'll talk to you guys at the end. Here we go. 5 seconds. Straight on about 14 and a half. Perfect. All right, 10 sprints down. Excellent. Adidas Predstrike. Now, as they started to get broken in, per my thoughts, they started to get a little bit sloppy towards the end of the sprints there, especially in this back heel area. And by sloppy, I don't mean low quality. I mean sloppy as in the boots as I'm turning, trying to get a certain amount of time to the half, or to the 18 back and to the half, you have to basically sprint the entire time, or at least be at like 90% threshold pace. And so when you're turning that aggressively and that quickly, the boots in the back and the heel do kind of, I found my heel to kind of be slipping around a little bit. So I would say that percentage number difference over the laced model is probably closer to like 30% or even 40% of difference in lockdown in the heel area. In the midfoot area here, no issues at all. They did a great job of wrapping your foot in the forefoot. I thought the touch on the ball was really nice. I'm a big fan of the hybrid touch. And so first impressions, I mean, it's hard to give a rating right away, but I would say first impression rating of these, I reckon these will be in the 6s or 7s overall. I reckon these will be in the 7s overall, even for a laceless model. Now that I've tried them and I've actually worn them in a session, I don't think these are better, at least in my first impressions. These aren't better than the Tequailas for my foot, for what I'm looking for. I think the Tequaila, sorry, it's really bright right now and there's sweat in my eyes, so that's why I'm like talking to you guys with my eyes closed. I think these are a very good product for a laceless football boot. I think these do a nice job of wrapping your foot in the forefoot, midfoot area. I think they slip a little bit in the heel. They slip a little bit too much for me to justify wearing them probably in a full-time training session even. I reckon these will be just like a pickup boot or a boot that I slip on for like an occasional play test or free kick session for myself. I found that hitting dead balls was no problem in these. I found that the touch on the ball was really good. Striking the ball was really good. I actually really like that they didn't include grip elements down into the passing area. So you actually have a pretty smooth passing area to strike the ball with when you're just cleanly kind of placing a ball into somebody's feet or into the goal. And then when you do kind of angle your foot like that to shoot, you do get a really nice shooting surface on that strike skin, which is lovely. So really, I think good product from Adidas. I think the laced model is going to be the one to go for. I think those, having worn them in an actual team session now, having worn them in an actual team session, they're really good. They're really, really good. So I'm just excited to try the ones with the fold over tongue. And then it's basically a matter of, you know, which ones. Maybe we'll do like an ultimate comparison video as well, which will be pretty sick. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did like that and you want more play tests, hit that like button, comment down below what boot you want to see me do a play test of next. As always, be awesome. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'll leave a link right here to the initial launch video and unboxing of this one. Talk to you guys soon.